G'day guys, this is FPP and today we're going to be looking at furnaces. So we're going to start with our good old trusted super smelter. So this design is known by everyone pretty much. It's not too bad. If you're playing Java Edition you probably know this off like the back of your hand. It is quite an interesting and simple design. Yeah, it works pretty well eventually, yes. So this is your go-to sort of furnace that you have. It's very cute. I mean, it's not too bad a design. In Bedrock, however, we have this. So this is your, very early on in the game sort of furnace that we have. So it's much the same sort of design. We have a... yeah. Let me try again. We have a chest at the bottom, like we do on that one. So down here, we have on the very back of it a bunch of whatever we're burning. So in this case, dry kelp, and it's just being shoved into the back. If we go into this section up here, much the same. We have whatever we want to burn. So let's grab something, if I can remember where it is. Here we go. Let's grab some iron ore. So let's pretend we've been mining or something like that, and not just cheating around a little bit for an example video. And we're just going to chuck all this in. So all we need to do is jump over here, and now that's the kill switch, so we don't want that one. That's the start switch, so all we want to do is give it about a 1 tick, maybe 2 tick pulse, something like that. Just basically on and off straight away. And now what we're going to do is we're just going to have a look at how fast this comes through. Now you saw the other one, it was quite impressive. Eventually, you get an item. If we just sit here for a while, it will come eventually, and then we'll get 2 coming out here. There we go. And this one, it's a little bit quicker. So this is the speed of this very basic array. It's not the full size, it's a minimalized version of it, and that's the kind of speed that we're expecting. So as you see, it's basically it's actually overworking at the moment. So what we could do is just add that and that and that. It's actually running a bit quicker because I normally build this on the Switch, and it tends to be on the Switch that it's a little bit more a little bit slower than my computer, so we'll give it a little bit of a break. So we'll help it just sort of flow through a little bit easier at the moment. And I may also just build one on the front just to make life even easier for it. Let's just do it kind of like that. That's not a problem. And let's see how that's coming through once it's gotten rid of some of the extra ones that we've gotten. But eventually that will sort of slow down. There we go. So that's your common sort of speed, and this is not something truly advanced. This is something early on in the game that you would build quite easily and simply. The hardest part is probably getting some observers, and that's pretty much it. So we're going to build a little bit of a bigger one, probably with this one, or maybe we'll modify it so that it's a little bit more infinite. So why this is called an infinite furnace is because the design can be modified to actually extend into infinity. So let me switch this one off so that it doesn't cause too much issue. Yep. Okay. In fact, the kill switch works a bit better if you do this, and then just leave it for a little bit and it turns off, and all those will run out of things to burn eventually and turn off. But we're going to go over here nice and quickly, and we're going to build ourselves a much better and much more larger model of this. It's an interesting game dynamic that we do actually have here. So I might just do it much the same as that. In fact, I believe if I have 3 of them, that should be enough to really make sure that we don't start overstocking the furnaces. That is a real possibility when we start upscaling this, is that it's running the possibility that it may not be able to get rid of enough items quick enough, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. So the thing is that we're going to have a 12 block build or push limit on the piston. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. That. So we're going to have, so we've got 5 at the moment, and we're just going to jump up here, and we'll go 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. We'll get rid of those blocks now. They're just guide blocks. They're not really anything big. So the reason why this works so well is that the slowest part in any furnace array system is the furnace itself. So you do have the blast furnace these days as well, and also the smoker, but they're a little bit sort of demanding as to what you can actually put in them. That's probably the easiest and nicest way. And sometimes you want to do heaps of glass or something like that, so it's also a bit of a problem. So we're just going to chuck in some placeholder blocks here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9, 10, and 11. 11, and then we're going to go up. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. And much the same on this side. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, and then we'll have a placeholder block in here, there and there. Now I'm just going to jump over this side because it's going to make our life so much easier. And we'll go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and another placeholder block. So I'll also mention this, that I'm currently using a computer, Windows machine to be precise, and on the Windows 10 version, which is also Pocket and Bedrock Edition that we're currently using, you can get away with doing basically fly and also crouching at the same time like you would in Java. However, on the console versions, it's not really so much an easy thing, so you're going to have to take into account whether or not you can sort of do it as easily, but it's just mainly for examples, things like that. And you're going to have to build this in creative anyway, so that gives you a bit of an idea as to why I'm actually able to do this, and why it may be a bit more complicated on console. You may go up and down a bit just as we're doing it on furnaces. So now the next thing that we need to do is obviously bring this circuit around, so we're just going to go a little bit like that. I'm going to bring that I'm going to have to jump into the water, hang on a sec. Okay, and I'll just chuck some blocks in there so it doesn't look too ugly. Yes, and then we're going to go like that, that, and that. So this is going to be one that you can infinitely expand. It's going to be one that, because these don't the observers don't actually have a limitation on how far they can go, you can just keep on building these out and out and out, and you don't need to worry about redstone signals fading over time and distance and all that sort of thing. So that's something to keep life nice and simple. And if we wanted to test fire it, unfortunately in Bedrock and Java Edition, why is that not working? What do we got going on there, hey? Oh, I know. I've run across this before. So what we might do, just for the guiding ones, is we might just chuck it down like this. It sometimes sort of occurs this way that it's a bit sort of pedantic to some degree about how observers sort of interact with other ones. Either that, or I'm just getting Bedrock and Java editions confused, which wouldn't be too unusual. In fact, if we just go like that in Bedrock, that should work. So we're just going to give it a test fire like that. And of course that's not working for some reason. Let's figure out why. Maybe it wants to sense the block, not the signal, which it shouldn't. No, I didn't think it would. Maybe it's because it's too high. Let's try that. Come on, what are we doing? Okay. Alright, that should work. Let's bring that round here, and that should be fine. There shouldn't be a problem with that. Using the experimental one, am I? I don't believe I am. Yeah, that should definitely be working. That is something odd going on. I'm not quite sure what's happened there. Maybe it's starting to become like Java, where it has problems. Okay. And that's... unless I've put those the wrong way round, that's entirely possible what I've done. Lipstick, aren't I? Okay. After a bit of time of realizing that I am such a knob, here we go, that should all work. There we go. So now this has got a very interesting little quirk to the design. If you build these long enough, you'll see that the pistons fire one and then the other one fires, which means that everything's sort of turning around. This one will turn around, and this one will turn around, this one will turn around, this one will turn around, and so on and so forth, which is a very interesting sort of thing. If you build these in a very long sort of tunnel, it's actually quite an amazing thing. It's kind of like a... I don't know how to describe it, really. It's something a bit sort of strange that you have to sort of see to understand what is sort of going on. But yeah, I'll see if I can also replicate it later on. It's more of a that looks pretty thing than a that's a work of genius sort of thing, but that's how we get it sometimes in Minecraft, which is good fun. I like the little sort of things that you do get where it's more of just art than actually just being something that's a good design or something like that. And we are going to go, I reckon on that side like that. Now this is obviously going to be quite expensive for observers, but they're not exactly the most expensive block in reality. They often seem like they are. It's not too bad, if I'm honest. Especially early on in the game, it's fairly easy to get to. It's not, it's going to be the easiest 2-second thing. You can get it before wood sort of stuff, but it's still relatively easy enough that I can justify it by basically saying that you'll be fine. So what are we going to do from here? From here, we need to put this in a somewhat accessible point. We're not going to go too crazy with the delivery systems, which we can, but for this one it's more of an example of this system rather than delivering things via farms and all the rest of the stuff. So if you keep that in mind, that would be best, and not probably get too angry at me. Yeah, it doesn't really bother me if you guys get angry at me, or if I build something that you kind of think's a bit silly or something like that. So I quite like this design though, to be honest. It's unique in how it works, and it's really something that if Java Edition guys could actually get their hands on something like this, it would really just absolutely change the game as to which version's actually the best. And that's still on. I thought I turned that off. The switch. There we go. All good. Alright, so where were we up to with this one? We are... So this one, as you can see, the pistons are going to push this one up when it comes around to it. So we're just going to chuck that on there. Now we want to do something much the same as the one before. In fact, I might, yeah, okay. Try and get away a little bit with not actually having to run too much of a complicated sort of system with this, so just going to do it like, oh, of course. Sometimes, like, I don't know if other people get this, but I know what I'm saying, I know what I'm doing, I know what I need to build, and then I forget all of it right before the video. It's really a really smart of me, I must say, and it's also smart to build that one that you're going to control everything last, because now the blocks are over here, and that's a little bit more annoying to have to deal with, but we're just gonna work with whatever we got. So we're just gonna do that. Use those as guiding blocks, get rid of that, then we'll get rid of those two, which is fine. Now we want to observe that one, which is good, and we're going to bring it up so that it's next to the pistons. In fact, I might even just do a little bit of a cheaty shortcut on this one, just like that. No. I need to also bring it up next to this one, because we're going to do an infinity design. If you want a simpler one that's a little bit quicker to build, a lot less observers, you can go for that one, which is nice and easy. All you have to do is replace these observers with redstone lines, which is obviously going to be a lot cheaper. This way you can actually just continue out to infinity, which is what we want, and like that, and like that, and I've built it too high. Of course I have. What am I doing? So we're just going to fix that one up, of course. So like that. And that's observing there, which is what we want. And we're just going to go along something a little bit like that. And this one, we'll fix up the pistons. It's because I got rid of that guide block. Well, I accidentally shifted the whole thing around, which is not what you want to do when you're building it, but it happens. We all do silly things sometimes. Okay, so let's just test this to make sure it's working. And that's working. And what happened there? No, I'm using the right blocks. Whoops. When is that coming back? That can't come back, they're just normal pistons. Like that. Okay, let's retest this. Have I? Oh, really? Some days I wonder about myself. I really do. It's... Of course I don't want that there. That's... Why would I think that would be a good idea? Oh, sorry, I need it in line with this. So there we go. It's one of those days, I think. Well, that's okay. We're only building a... Come on. There we go. There we go. Okay, now we're just going to have to change where this line is, which is fine. It's not a problem. And we're just going to bring it probably out like this. See, the other thing that I kind of like about this is that it's a little bit more casual. A lot of builds you tend to find are very precise in how things are done. Like you can't put a lot of, you put one brick out of place and that's it. Like you're in serious trouble. Whereas this one, it's kind of like, you want to run the line in a big circle around here or something like that. No, it's fine. It doesn't matter. It's pretty easy going for a lot of things. There we go. Now that's working. That's what we want. Okay, so you start to see the idea of what we're actually doing here. If we really wanted to make sure it's got enough fuel, we could put another one in here. Something a little bit like that. And yeah, I reckon that's good, that's looking fine. Now what we need to do is build an on-off switch, so we're just going to disconnect the circuit here, and that will load back into the starting position, which is what we want. So we don't need pistons anymore, and we're just going to put that there, and I'm just going to chuck that in, and we'll grab our repeater, just so it's a one-way circuit, and we'll put a lever on top. And as always I do in these, we put a lamp on here. I like lamps. They're not required in a lot of this stuff. I just do it because, well, it gives it that little bit more of what it's meant to be doing. Like, have you ever seen a factory where there hasn't been signs as to what things do and stuff like that? Not really. Like, all the time. It's going to start switch. Yeah, all the time you're going to see a lot of signs, all that sort of stuff. And what am I doing? There we go. And we're going to go kill switch. Nice and simple. Okay, so if we get rid of some of our items so that we've got nothing in our hands, all we have to do is flick that. Flick that. Oh no, I've gotten the signs the wrong way around. Okay. I don't know if anyone, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a start switch. And the other one's a kill switch. And kill switch. 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 There we go. So that one stops it, that one starts it, and all we need to do is basically give that a flick, and that will start. There we go, nice and easy, and it will continuously go around. And we've got nothing in this chest so far. It's not going to be massively much more quicker than that one, to be honest, but it will be able to handle a lot more items without having the system starting to get backed up by items waiting in the queue, things like that. So let's give this a little bit of a shot. So the first thing we need to do is feed the beast. So I'm just going to get rid of a whole bunch of these. Just going to chuck them all to the side because we don't need these anymore. And get rid of all of that. Yeah, I wish there was an easier way to do this realistically, but oh, it is what it is. Oh, frick, what am I doing? Okay, here we go. So you're going to just need a little bit. You're probably going to want a farm to be able to run something like this. Which there's better things to run it on. Bamboo farms seem to be the way to go. Kelp farms not too bad. They're about the same. You just need to be able to build it underneath the water for a kelp farm, which is something where you need to take into account where you're going to build it and all the rest of the stuff, but it is what it is. I say but a lot, I've just realised in this. Okay, almost there, almost there. Okay, so that gives us a little bit of a start into the system. Now what we want to do from here, since yes, it's running, so that's a good thing, and we'll grab, what are we going to do? We're going to go like for like. We're just going to go iron on both chests just to give it enough. So you're not going to really need to build another furnace. I've built one of these once about, how long was it? I think it was about 20 wide, and it was just pointless. There was no point whatsoever. at that point. I just never needed to use something in such a large demand. And that one. And it's not completely full, but that's okay. Just gives you a little bit of an idea as to what this one's like. Who would ever smelt this many items at once? Like, I know that they do on some YouTube shows. They'll have, you know, massive projects of this sort of scale where you'll need to smelt this many items at once, and they'll use it with ridiculously colossal machines. But the problem is that, can you find a machine that's as cheap as this one? So they're starting to come in. You start to find that those loaders will be starting to come in now. Those haven't started up yet. Gives you a bit of an idea as to scale of this thing. It's okay, so that's running 4 at the moment. I think that's with the 3 chests. That's running 3, 2, and might need to add more loaders to this one actually. Okay, so we got a little bit coming in. It's pretty quick actually, considering that this is bare bones, you know, hard and fast sort of stuff, and 90% of what this is just furnaces, which is cobblestone. So it's not exactly an expensive thing to build, and it does pretty well. I think that we could probably do. No, it seems to be loading okay. That one's not. Oh no, I think that's about where I put it into the 3rd chest, maybe, or the 2nd one. So you want to just sort of tailor this a little bit more as to how it's running. Yeah, so that's only got 1 in it, which isn't fantastic. Okay, so not too bad. It's starting to get a decent distribution of what's coming in. So yeah, that's a bit of a realistic sort of speed as to what this does constantly. This is I quite like this machine. Let's build this a bit longer. I want to give you guys a bit of a show, even if we don't hook up the rest as far as firing them up. I want to give you guys a bit of an idea as to what this thing looks like when you build it to its proper sizes. So the idea of why this is infinite is that there is no limits to this. You can replace this bottom chest with things like a dispenser that will shoot into a water line, things like that, so that you don't have to worry about collecting it manually from chests, which makes life a lot simpler, and things like that. It just makes it so that you don't need to. You can upgrade this machine. You don't need to replace it. There's no replacement for this. If anyone else on the Java platform actually had the ability to build this would be it. This would be the point where, or the basic structure of what they would build. There's no point building, 20 pieces of redstone for one chest, or if you have a look for a second just at the very early one here. So for each one chest that we have 3 different chests. We have 3 different hoppers to be able to load one chest. If we look into this one, okay, it's a bit complicated, but so we have 11 each side plus 1, which is bad math. So 45 furnaces per line. So in total, we're currently looking at 90 furnaces, and the most that we're using is a little bit of servers, some pistons. Yeah, we're trying to use a few more hoppers just to be able to supply it and remove it enough just so it can maintain itself without running out of too much stuff, which it does seem to be holding pretty well at the moment. So that's leaving it with about 4, so that will get topped up. So that's about where you should be seeing it, just to give it enough for it to make it pretty much almost all the way around. We could probably get rid of one of the chests, maybe. Yeah, we could probably get rid of one of them, actually, and it would still be quite fine, and operating at quite an efficient manner. But let's get back to this, because this will be something that I think you'll really get sold on it by. I sound like a salesman at this point. It's like, you're going to buy this fantastic product from us, and this is the extra bonuses that it can do. It's like, I'm a nut sometimes. Okay, here we go. So let's build this to a proper size, hey? The worst part of this is going to actually be the furnaces. Holding, as I said before, you got to hold down shift and click, or shift and spacebar at the same time to be able to do it, which it's that little bit annoying. On one hand, you get the actually did that correctly. Weird. Once in my life, I did something right. I'm sorry that this video is going to be a bit longer, but it does give you a bit more of a guide as to how this is. I'm kind of interested. What kind of builds do other people use for furnaces? Do you still use super smelters and other sort of tutorials if you're on Bedrock and Pocket Edition, and also Windows 10 Edition, or do you use something like this, or what are you guys using? I've got to really question as to because I've noticed that there's not really too many people that talk about these sort of things on Bedrock. So what's the deal? Have people just, being content with playing Java, or is it that they just don't really care too much? I'm not sure. I think Bedrock, and I'm going to call it Bedrock from now on, because it's literally got 3 names. It's called Bedrock, it's called Windows 10 Edition, and also Java Edition. I'm sorry, not Java Edition. Never Java Edition. It's called Pocket Edition, Bedrock, and also Console Edition, and also Pocket. What did I say? Windows 10. Okay, let's start again. So it's Windows 10, Java. Okay, so you call it Bedrock, it's Pocket Edition, Windows 10 Edition, being called Console Edition. Is there any other names for it that I haven't mentioned? Maybe, maybe not. I can't remember now. But it's got lots of different names. That's basically the one point that I make, is that, yeah, see, you're starting to see it now. You're starting to see the magic of the Infinity Furnace. Do you say smelter or furnace? Is that like a country thing, or is that like a thing that we just, who knows? It's just something a bit sort of strange. I tend to find that different people call it different things. Technically it's furnace, I think, just because of where the names come from. And we're gonna just jump onto our last one here. You're never gonna need something this size. Literally, like, it's just pointless at this stage. Who could ever need something this size? And if you really wanted to go crazy, you could probably go for blast furnaces and all that stuff as well, but then it's just, that's even worse. I'm not used to making long videos on these. In fact, I'm not really used to making videos full stop. I'm a bit of a new guy to this stuff, so if anyone does actually watch these, I hope you get something out of these. I mainly just do it because, well, I kind of think that, Bedrock kind of gets a bit neglected online. It sort of seems like, everyone's making videos about Java and all that stuff, but to be honest, I prefer being able to go out and when I'm bored, getting out something like a game device and clipping it onto my phone, and then the next thing you know, you can play wherever you are. I don't want to have to take my laptop everywhere. It's just, you know, a complete pain. You know, I've got, what, 4 different computers and I don't take any of them anywhere. It's just horrible. They're so large. If you're at work, you know, how are you supposed to take a laptop to work without it seeming that little bit sus? Like, I can imagine that if I took it to work, a lot of people would be asking a lot of questions. I don't work in IT or anything like that anymore, but yeah, the workplace I'm at these days, yeah, it's more your automotive sort of industry and things like that. So that's why I love Minecraft, is namely because it's kind of like the automotive industry. We build different things, we make things, we invent, that sort of stuff. It's good fun. We're almost done. One layer here, and I'm not going to bother firing this thing up. I just at least wanted to show you what the looks of it is, because this thing is ridiculous to refill. It's just an absolute nightmare at the best of times to actually get anything done with it. Much like most of the other furnace arrays that you sort of see, that they sort of explain how they all work and all this stuff. No one ever sort of tells you that this sort of size of stuff or other furnace arrays that you do get are kind of pointless if you're only doing a small amount, because you're going to end up wasting ridiculous amounts of resources just for no reason. If you're going to have something like a farm connected directly to this, yeah, go for it, like, that's not a problem. But if you don't have farms directly connected to it, or you at least need to take things from one place to another, which even they do themselves, I just don't see a point for it. Like, you're not going to be able to take that many items, or definitely not enough to fire up this thing. This thing's just mental. Let's be honest, like, this is just crazy. Have you ever even seen this many furnaces in one section before? Like, this is just stupidly big. Now, the big question is, do I edit this video? I mean, it seems like I'm been talking for a while and I do gibber on a little bit. You can feel free to fast forward if you really want. If I'm still talking here, I'll probably... What I'll do is, if you do get bored of what I'm actually saying, I will hover over the ocean and spin around a little bit when I've actually done all this, so that you can fast forward and know exactly where to pick up on without it being too much of an issue, because yeah, editing this is a bit of a pain in the neck sometimes. But there's no easy editing programs as well. I complain a lot about different things. Okay, so we've done... Oh, my fingers are killing me. Okay, so we've done 2 sides. I'll also show something else. This is actually... I think I don't need to do a video on it, but this is also the same design of what the infinity... what do you call it? Infinity chest is. So, all you need to do to make an infinity chest is replace all these with chests, and then you have a ridiculous storage system. You are gonna fill that up, and if you do, like, I gotta say, like, that would be a fair effort being able to fill up this many chests, or even furnaces, to be honest. It's ridiculous. Here we go. And before you say it, I do know that there's structure blocks where I could have cheated this. I've got this thing that I don't really like using anything like that. Mods, not really my thing. And even entering, you know, changing time of day codes and stopping the daylight cycle. I do it for videos. namely because I think it looks a bit sort of nicer if you... Did I not build that? Okay, I'll have to fix that up. Yeah, namely I do it because I think that the video would be a bit sort of more horrible if there was just nighttime as well, but it still feels a bit sort of wrong. It's kind of like Doom. When Doom came out, this is really showing how old I am here. When Doom first came out, people used to play it quite a lot, and it was quite a hard game. You got to remember, these are the sort of fairly early computer game days, and there was a cheat called God Mode where you wouldn't ever die, and it sucked the fun out of the game, to be honest. I mean, why would you play something if you can't win? Well, if you can't lose, you can't win, is fundamentally what I'm saying here. Which means that we've got one side left to go. Alright, here we go. I wasn't really planning on building this, otherwise I would have built it beforehand, but it is what it is. Sometimes I like doing these sort of spare of the moment sort of things. I think that's more what I should probably make this channel about, is just, instead of it trying to be structured, because I'm not very much of a structured sort of guy, and I kind of prefer just to play it a little bit sort of hard and loose sort of deal. So, although that may mean that I'm not as G-rated, although these days with copper, that may be a good thing. I will say the copper thing. What? My thoughts on it. It's... I do know a little bit about lore. A little bit. My thoughts on copper is mainly that it's probably not the biggest concern that a lot of YouTubers should have. So how I'm saying that is without any sort of legal advice or anything like that. That whole, this doesn't constitute legal advice, and so on and so forth. Weirdly enough, law is what I actually do at university in my spare time. But the idea that you are going to get fined, fairly unlikely, especially if you're overseas. They may do it to just, make an example of someone or something like that. Yeah, fair enough. It is what it is. But the really big thing that you're probably going to come across more than anything else is, have we broken something? Why have we stopped working? Something's not right here. Okay. We're all good. Okay, I thought I broke something. All good. So the whole copper thing, is it really a massive problem for people? Probably in what they're mentioning, that they will delete channels that aren't viable. What makes a channel unviable? Storage space. Yeah, that does make a channel unviable, but it's beyond that. I think the reality is that viability is more the case of, if it costs them money, don't expect them to want to really hang around with you putting stuff on their channel or on their site anymore, is really probably more likely what they're saying. So overseas people getting fined for laws and regulations of a different country that you're bound by under a contract that not necessarily is going to be binding for you in a comparative law situation, yeah, that's kind of a 50-50 sort of deal. That's kind of I would hate to be the lawyer to deal with that, but more that be prepared to actually possibly have stuff deleted. So let's have a look at this one. So this is the Infinity Furnace. It's a work of art. I'll turn on the sound for a second. I don't like having sound on, but so if we get a little bit closer to it, it sounds almost a little bit like a train, or I don't know what that sounds like, but it's a gorgeous, gorgeous machine. Now, let's turn that back off because that's really annoying. I hate the sounds that you get through there, but that is, ladies and gentlemen, after a long-ish sort of video for me actually, that would be the Infinity Furnace, once and for all. And you're never going to probably build it, you're never ever probably going to have a use for it. If you do, I would love to see what you're building, because that's really a lot of glass. That's the main reason that people build furnace arrays, is glass. You don't really use them for a lot of other things these days, or at least that's for myself, but that's a really amazing sort of thing. I might even put this as the thumbnail for this, so if you do like it, subscribe, and you know, if you prefer Bedrock Edition and kind of don't like the ranting and raving, I'll let me know. And what is going on over there? Righto. Yeah, so if you like the ranting and raving and sort of me just waffling on, good. If you don't, then let me know and I'll get rid of it and probably try and talk about something else, or maybe I'll try and come up with some jokes. Maybe I'll try and be a funnier person. No, I'm kind of a bit of an odd person, so that may be more up my alley than just sort of reflecting my thoughts, but yeah, I hope you've had fun and enjoyed the video, and this is the Infinity Furnace, the one and only way to destroy every other furnace in Minecraft. It's hypnotizing, isn't it? It really is. There's something to how it actually looks. I keep on meaning to end this video, but it's very distracting. Alright, catch you later guys, and I'll see you in the next one. See ya.